say. It's a really good ball. It's Shabalala. Goal! Bafana, Bafana! Goal for South Africa! Goal for all Africa! Jabulila, rejoice! Bafana, Bafana have popped the first cork on their day of days! Sim Shabalala!
Hello, and welcome to another episode of How's Your Touch, soccer podcast where friends meet to talk about, latest news in the soccer world, discuss our teams, and just play trivia games and build lists centered around what's going on in soccer right now and soccer players we enjoy to watch. I'm your host, the Oracle, aka Darren Baidu, because the Oracle is my main name now. I gave up Darren. And I'm here with my co-host Tate Alonso. Tate, anything to say to the people?
Hey, bro. I just thought, it's about time we bring on some London representation into the show. So, I'm obviously always happy to be here, but I think we gotta introduce our guest, the How's Your Touch biggest fan, if I would say.
Yes, for sure.
One of our best friends. So Sebastian, welcome to the show.
No, yeah. Honestly, appreciate you guys having me. You guys know I love to talk, but actually I'll keep this quite short. Very grateful to be here. I've been watching every episode, bar none, leaving comments on every video. So yeah, looking forward to this very much. Honestly, chuffed to be here.
Mm-hmm. And the bar is pretty low, Sebastian. Our only other guest is Joshua, so you're already doing better than Josh, to be honest.
Thanks. I'll just say thanks.
Hey, you got a competition for best guest.
You want to tell the people what we're doing today, too?
Yeah, so we had our last top 10 list. So I thought, let's do another one. Obviously, we lost all credibility last week because we had Christian Pulisic in the top 10 and Lamine Yamal was also, second? I mean, we lost all of our credibility, but anyways, so this week we thought, we'll do strikers. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I'm a lot happier with the list that we have for this top 10. So, I'm going to read off starting from the bottom to the top, and we'll get started. We'll keep it short for the honorable mentions. So we got a total of 17 names. And then we had we had 3 people that were tied, but only one person that was tied in the top 10, one group that was tied in the top 10. So 14th, each receiving one last place vote was Omar Marmoush and Karim Benzema. Omar Marmoush, I think he's a baller. He's a baller. Karim Benzema shout, bro. Darren sent me this list. Nana sent Karim Benzema 10th, bro. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That is understandable. Okay,
yeah. Fair. Karim makes sense on why he's not in our list. I think everybody is aware of the talent of Karim Benzema. It's just bro, you're in Saudi, bro. Yeah. I've watched maybe 5 Saudi games since the league went big.
He's also 35 now, something like that. I mean, yeah, he's just. I don't think he's a top 10 striker in the world right now. Omar Marmoush, I thought he was a 10, honestly. So that's kind of why it's last time.
Frankfurt. At City, he hasn't played striker at all.
Yeah.
Their or who is on my list, was a striker. So I'm confused on why Marmoush was put down as a striker rather than or a left winger.
Just because we all know who this person is. Danny had him at 10th. So, I mean, this kid just definitely doesn't watch him play football. So, yeah. I mean, that's fine.
Wait, Danny had who at 10?
Omar Marmoush.
Wait, what's wrong with that?
He's just not a striker.
Yeah, he just hasn't played striker really this year.
Okay, I hear you.
He's not at City.
Okay, at City, I swear I saw City play with a 4-4-2. They switched it up. Holland and Marmoush up top.
Yes, you're right.
And at Frankfurt, it's true that maybe he was more of a 10. But there were also situations where he was up top with Etiquette, which I'm sure will maybe make an appearance here, in a 2-man up top, which is why he's also been utilized at City in the front line.
And
Just my
to
thoughts.
be fair, the one game he did start at 9. I think he was a sole 9 this game. He did score a hat trick at City.
Yeah, City, yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I don't remember who they played, but I know it was one of the worst teams in the Prem. So
Ipswich, no.
it was. I don't know who they were playing, but I know, and he did score. He does look good, but again, not going to talk on them too long. Good players. Number 13, Ollie Watkins got a 9th place vote. No, he got 2 10th place votes, I think, and then a 9th place vote. I'm probably going to butcher his name. Hugo Ekitike, is that right? Also got a 9th place vote.
That's my new project. Isak, the Isak project went boom. I need a new project.
Hey,
That's my new project.
I've been watching highlight reels. Not gonna lie, I haven't watched a full 90. He looks crazy.
good.
I saw the hat trick he just scored for the 21s.
Yeah,
I mean,
he looked
game
good.
is crazy.
Paris, but it was more so the like zero output. Like it was like he gave you the flair, like the winger stuff at like 6'4", 6'5" as a striker. He does that. He's very good on the ball. He links people up into the game well. I think for him, it's just output. Like for someone who was supposed to be the main striker for Frankfurt, like Marmoush is scoring more goals than you, and he's more of a shadow striker than like a striker. So, like, I guess that's my only thing for why Ekitike was so low. But otherwise, yeah, that's baby Isak right there. That's the next project.
Sebastian, you seen much of either? Well, obviously we've seen a lot of Watkins.
Yeah.
If you want to speak on Ekitike or Watkins, either or.
Yeah, I think Watkins, I mean, that's a classic at this point. I think he's positioned himself as one of the top strikers in the Premier League, honestly. Yeah. So he's, I mean, consistently one of the top forwards. I would say this season maybe hasn't been as strong, but still he's probably one of the top 6, 7 like scorers plus assisters in the league. I think we've just started to get accustomed to Watkins being a top striker. So that says enough about him. And then Ekitike, good season so far. I'm just going to have to be real, though. Like, I'm not watching Frankfurt. I've rarely seen them play. I haven't seen a full 90. Hearing a lot about him. I think we all heard about him at PSG, but obviously he wasn't taking off there. So, it seems it could be a bright future, but not much to say about him.
Well said. Well said. I agree with everything you just said. Now, number 12. Sorry. I just think of this guy, and I just envision the half-field shot he put on. Was that in the Euros, or was it the World Cup? Patrick Schick. I just think of that goal, and I'm just like, this man. But I just don't see him. I know he's at Leverkusen right now. Yeah. I think he starts. I know they rotate a lot. Jimmy Alonso rotates a lot, so it's hard, I think, to even have one of their strikers in because they rotate so much. But I think he's going to bag you 10 to 15 goals a season. So I mean, that's a good striker in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it's like you said, Leverkusen rotates a lot. Personally, I think he's much better than Boniface. Personally, I think he's the better striker. I just think he has more to his game. Like, I think he brings people into the game better. I think he is a marksman, like in front of the goal, like ball striking. He's up there with the strikers in the world, like actually striking through the ball. I would say that's an issue I've had with like some other strikers that we've seen previously, even Arsenal strikers, your Jesus's, your Havertz. Like, that's my issue with them, is that like they can do some stuff, but then when it comes to actually hit the ball, get the ball in the net, they're lacking in that, where I think Schick has that asset in this game. For me, it's more so the like, I just see him as a back to goal striker and like running the channels. That's all like I can see from Patrick Schick. And I prefer my strikers to be able to like just pop up literally anywhere on the field and help the team and just be a nuisance. But I think he lacks that. So that's why he was pretty low on my list. But good striker, can't complain. I mean, he didn't make our top 10, but I think he probably
I think he's in your top 10, right?
Yeah, he's in mine.
I think you're the only person that had
like just outside. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that, those Arsenal strikers you just mentioned won't be making our list for obvious reasons. I mean, obviously United's won't also be making the list, but I wouldn't even question that. But I just wanted to let you know that Arsenal strikers. Anyways, right outside the top 10, I do think both these guys. First off, I think the strikers list we have in general, the quality is a lot lower. I think our strikers aren't as good right now. In like the world of soccer that they had been previously. Like if we would have done this list 5 years ago, I think it would have been way different. But these two, I think, were both unfortunate to miss out. But Chris Wood and Guirassy, they both missed out and I won't say 10th yet, but they were both very close to making it. Chris Wood, obviously, I'll speak on him just a little bit. I think before this year, if Chris Wood would have been put in this top 10 list, I think people would have been like, what do you do? Like, Chris Wood is not a top 10 striker in the world. And that's personally why I didn't have him in the list. This year, he's been crazy, and he's definitely been a top 10 striker in the world this year. But I also have to look at some of these strikers and say the catalog they've put up is definitely a lot better than Chris Wood's. So I couldn't put him on the list. But Nottingham Forest, Darren and I have talked a little bit about them on the show. I mean, the vibes of this team are just awesome. And, having Chris Wood up top is just so funny to me because you got Alanga, Cho, and Morgan Gibbs-White, and they're just feeding the ball to Chris Wood, who was on Burnley and Newcastle fighting relegation. Now he's going for Champions League football up top. It's crazy. But I think, Sebastian, you put Guirassy in, so if you want to speak on him a little bit.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm not the only one who mentioned him. I mean, to be honest about Wood, I also do want to give him a shout out. I think I saw like 18 goals this season already. He scores. He's not just, despite his figure, he is pretty mobile, and he doesn't just score like your typical like one-touch finishes. I mean, he can do that as well, but he can receive an over-the-top ball, finish that well, link up with MGW and Hudson-Odoi in the likes, he's just like genuinely improved his game despite his age, and he's actually evolving as a player. So who knows? I mean, maybe we could see him on the list if he keeps it up next year. But yeah, so far it's been one season, so yeah, we'll see. Guirassy, he has been on my mind ever since you guys excluded him from your African starting 11s. I think I left a comment. I think I mentioned him, and I just wanted to just bring him up, just to bring some light to this absolute magnificent number 9, who genuinely finishes. So I don't know. He just finishes what's in front of him. Like, yeah, his game isn't super complex, but he's just a finisher. Like, he's just a striker who scores. Bundesliga, was one of the top scorers last year. This year, one of the top scorers. Champions League, I saw he has 10 goals this Champions League campaign. That's no joke, right? Dortmund is still in it as well. So who knows? That number can go up. Like, do not sleep on this guy. He's a top striker. True, he's not from a big nation in football, but guys, keep your eye on this guy. That's what I have to say. A lot more to say about him, but phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. You hear this visionary take he's putting on, Darren? You hear it?
I continue to sleep on Guirassy, bro.
I don't think he's better than Nico Jackson personally, but
another guy who's great. Just gonna throw it out there.
Both of them, I think, very unlucky to miss out based on their stats this season. But to get into our top 10, number 10, and I honestly feel bad about this one because part of the reason he's on here is me. Number 10 is Ousmane Dembele. Now, he was also in our wingers list, but the reason I think he's in this top 10 strikers list is because now he's been playing striker too. And I'm thinking of the games against Liverpool where he was the best attacker on the field. And I'm thinking of the stats he's putting up in Ligue 1 at striker now, and it's crazy. Crazy.
Sure. I hear what you're saying, but I think that's, like, personally, I didn't have him on my list because first is stupidity. We all know he's not a striker. Second, like, how is that any different than like 2 years ago, Jude Bellingham playing at the top of the diamond for Real Madrid? And like, he still didn't call him a striker. Like, sure, you might be playing there, but like, for me, it's more about the positions in the field you're occupying. Ousmane, half the game is rotating with Barcola on the wing
I
or Kvaratskhelia on the wing.
I get that, but if you look at all of the strikers we have on this list, like if you look at Isak, for instance, Isak is rotating so much on the left wing too, with Gordon coming inside,
Sure.
or even on the other wing and Jacob
But
Like,
the difference is I see Isak backing into center backs.
I
I
agree.
see Isak
Yeah.
running off of center backs.
But-
I see Usman literally come deep, roll around to the wing, and then make his run.
But
Like-
that's still a style of striker, right?
Sure,
And-
It is, but he is not a striker.
But
I agree.
everybody keeps saying the beauty of the Paris system is they are playing without a striker. That's why the Usman pick did not make sense to me.
Okay, when Gabriel Jesus plays striker, Gabriel Jesus and in my opinion, Gabriel Jesus and Ousmane Dembele, the way they
They are
occupy
not the
striker
same. They do
position,
not occupy the same spaces on the field.
but they are a very similar profile of player. The only difference I would say between the two in the profile is that, and this is why you're going to say Gabriel Jesus is more of a 9, is because he is more physical when he plays, and I agree.
Bro, even back to goal, like I genuinely can't recall seeing Ousmane Dembele, even in the Liverpool game, receive the ball with either one of the center backs right on his back. Like, because his whole thing is like moving into spaces that a traditional striker would not. Like, and I hear it numbers wise, sure, he's putting up striker numbers. I'm just saying for like to me, it doesn't make sense because we could do the same thing in other positions. Like, why wouldn't Mohamed Salah be a striker then? Like, he is still Liverpool's outlet player, the highest player on the field for Liverpool most of the
But
time.
he occupies so much further onto the wing than Ousmane does, when he's playing. And okay, to be honest, I had him 10th. So I had Chris Wood 10th, and I'm like, Chris Wood can't be a top 10 striker. So then I put Ousmane Dembele 10th. So I'm not acting like I am that high on him. I just think it's crazy that this man is playing 9 now and still putting up numbers. But I do agree with a lot of what you're saying with the system is part of the reason why he's doing so well at striker, and he does occupy a lot of winger positions. But the final point I'll make on this is if you watch like now, like there are so many teams that play without a 9 or will play with a 9 that's so like occupying such different spaces. Harry Kane's probably going to be high up on our list. He occupies a 10 position half the time. Half the games you're watching, Musiala is occupying a higher position than him too. So I'm just saying this 9 position, I think it's very different than how it used to be. And I mean, again, like I said, 5 or 10 years ago, the position would have been very different because you didn't have those false 9s. I mean, this all started from, in my opinion, Pep putting it through City with, we can do this without a striker, or we can do this with Aguero, who is a 9, but like we can do this with someone that's a lot more shifty than what we're used to. Again, was 10th on my list, and it would have been Chris Wood, but I will take the blame. But I just want to give out a shout out to one of our other big fans, JR, had him at 4th, and that's why he's in the top 10. So
Wait, had who at 4th?
Ousmane Dembele. So
As a striker.
yes, correct.
Tell JR to stay in the goal, bro.
Hey, you
Wait,
know what? You know
You
what?
want to do goalkeeper top 10? We'll ask JR, bro.
Hey, bro. Remember what he said on the first view with the one Yeri shout. What he told you. I think you should repeat it back.
I'm gonna let that one breathe, bro. I'm gonna let that one breathe.
I think 4th best striker is crazy though, but
You know.
Next on.
Okay, fair. JR, I have some questions for you, honestly, but I hear you. I will say, at least if you're going to consider him a striker, fair enough. Why not put him that high? However, I don't consider him a striker, but fair enough. I mean, he's bossing it. If he were a striker, he definitely would be top 10, maybe top 7. I don't know about number 4, but
yeah,
fair enough.
I agree.
He still would not be 4th for me, but yeah.
Fair enough,
All right.
fair enough.
Number 9 on the list. Surprised he didn't make it, honestly. Victor Osimhen. He didn't make it higher up, I mean. Again, another player that I think we are so short-minded on because
You watch that league tape?
the Turkish league? No, I don't watch that. Wait, bro. I'm just saying, bro, that Victor Osimhen. Listen, I don't understand why this is so funny. Victor Osimhen last year would have been in everyone's top 10 list.
Sure.
He moves to Turkey this year, and okay, he's in the Turkish league because he couldn't get a move elsewhere because no one wanted to spend the bread on him because Napoli were asking for outrageous numbers. And not only that, but if you look at the season before last year, people were throwing out best striker in the world shouts. So my point with this whole situation is he's not that old, and he didn't lose a crap ton of skill in 2 years or a year, even a year. He didn't lose that much skill. Now, I haven't watched a ton of the league, but I think they were in the Europa League. I think it was the Europa League. And I have been tuning into the Europa League highlights, and he still looks class. I'm just saying he still looks class.
And Odo glimpse.
Hey, bro. Okay. And your point
this man's got to do PR for the Europa League because they're in there now, bro.
Hey, bro. I don't want to hear it from Mr. Arsenal. You guys drew us twice.
Real Madrid next.
What? What'd
Real
you say?
Madrid next.
You are gonna get absolutely cooked, bro. Who's playing striker? Leonardo Trossard up top.
Hey, who are we playing next? Who are we playing next?
Probably some team in the Premier League because you're not playing Real Madrid next.
Real Madrid next.
Listen, this conversation is just crazy to me that Victor Osimhen's getting this kind of disrespect, but. No one has anything else to say. That's all we want to talk about. Victor
Osimhen, bro. So personally, I just don't rate him in general. I don't rate him the way he plays.
I hear that.
I personally don't like. Bro, I think especially like people give Lukaku flack about Timberland boots. Bro, that's Victor Osimhen, bro. That's Victor Osimhen.
I know why you don't rate him. I know why you don't rate him.
Like. Bro, Osimhen to me is just a bulldozer. Like, that's all he is. He's like the old-fashioned striker. Like, you put him on West Ham back in the 70s, and he's doing a job for you, bro. He's like Mikel Antonio with some extra spice, bro. That's how I see Victor.
Why is Erling Haaland rated then? Because everything you're saying about Osimhen is the same as Erling Haaland, and Erling Haaland's going to be...
Osimhen is nowhere near as clinical as Haaland. Nowhere.
Bro,
that is true. That is true.
Okay, I understand. But Osimhen is still dropping his Napoli career, 133 games, 76 goals. That's crazy.
Pull up Lukaku's stats in Serie A for me real quick.
I understand what you're saying, but we've seen Lukaku in the Premier League.
Did Boylan score 15 in a season in Serie A?
Who?
Oh, that's a
Boylan. How many did he score?
Boylan scored 9. Let's calm down. He can never put up double-digit numbers, bro. Anyways,
I'm just saying. Like personally, I think he is big, tall, strong, and I think that's where it ends for me.
Darren, why don't you just say it for what it is? You have an agenda against Nigerians, and this is why he's not.
I don't, bro. Ademola Lookman. I rate Ademola Lookman. He was on my winger list. So clearly there's no agenda against the Nigerians. He's just not good, bro. Personally, I don't think he's good. Personally, I don't think he's good. Like all the couple years ago when people were pushing, he needs to move to a big team. He needs to move to a big team. I was hoping United signed him. That's how little I rate Osimhen.
I hope that Arsenal sign him. I really do. I hope Arsenal sign him, and I hope he cooks. So then you can eat your work because
I would become a Madrista, bro. I'm joining Danny, bro. I would sell out so fast if we're gonna be shits, not because of a Nigerian, bro. Never.
See, this is what I mean, Sebastian. Did you see how I just said yes agenda against Nigeria? And look what happened.
Who's next?
I can't stand this kid. Anyways, number 8, and you two are gonna have to talk. I think you both had him in. Yep, you did. Again, we'll butcher his last name. Matteo Rutegui. Is that how you say it?
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Atalanta striker. Again, seen him in highlights. He is banging goals. But again, I know a lot less about him than every other player I put in my list, which is why he was not in the list. So I'll have you two talk about him.
I have a question, Tate. Is Lautaro Martinez on this list?
Yes, he is, but I've seen a lot more of Lautaro.
Okay, never mind. I think he is similar to Latour in a sense of
Mm.
I think he's that like short, compact, sneaky striker. Like I think people don't realize how good he is in the air because of how small he is. I think in the box, bro, he's a fox. Like
Yeah,
he gets stuff finished. Put the ball in the box, he's putting it away. I think holistically is where I'm a little lacking in fully like being like, oh, he's the guy. I just don't know if physically that's the kind of profile I want from a striker. Like I think it works for some strikers. Like a striker, I also don't know if this other guy's on the list, so I wouldn't say it. He missed out on my list personally, just because I think this was his first full season as like the main man, the striker.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
But I think Retegui, I think he's a baller, bro. Like I think he's sensational, and especially the season. I think if it's solely based off this season, I think he's in the top 5, bro. If it was just based on this season, but holistically and considering what other people have done too, I think that's what knocked him off on my list. But Fox in the box, bro. Fox in the box.
Let's hear what you gotta say.
Honestly, same as Darren. Fox in the box. I looked at his stats. He has 22 goals in this Serie A campaign. That's more than Holland has this season. That's more than Mbappe has this season in La Liga. That's more than Isak has this season in Premier League. That's more than Kane has this season in the Bundesliga. Not much more to say than that. He just scores. I have to be honest, I have not seen him play a 90 minutes. I also am not sure that he has a similar style to Lautaro. I think Retegui is like...
Build, not style.
Okay, build.
Like,
sorry.
Physical build, yeah.
Yes. Although I'm not sure how strong he is, but maybe he reminds me a bit of Agüero in the sense that he just finds a way to score without necessarily imposing himself in the game. Anytime I see Atalanta, I haven't really seen Retegui, but he's not really that imposing or that involved, but he just scores at the end of the day. I don't know how he does it, but he just gets goals. So fair enough.
He goes home with something, bro. It kind of reminds me of like not the year Leicester won the league, but the year after Vardy, like where it was like everybody knew he was older, but it's like you still don't want the chance to fall to Vardy. If it was to fall to anybody, it's like even though he might not have done anything the whole game, it's like I don't want the chance to fall to Retegui. And I think, bro, he's been good this season. Like Sebastian read off his stats, bro. Like goals wise, like if we were going off just this campaign, he would probably have to be top 5. But again, I said holistically, that's why he was lower for me.
You had him the highest, I think, in the entire list.
What was he for me?
5th.
Like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. And I think that I like that you had him so high because you spoke raving high about him. Again, I haven't seen enough. And someone like since we mentioned his name, I'm gonna like Lautaro for me is. I mean, he's been doing this on a consistent level, and we'll talk about him a little more. But that's just for a reason. Like, again, do I watch a lot of full 90s of Inter? I don't sit here and watch every full 90 of Inter, but I've seen a lot of him. So, but very good discussion on him. And then number 7, I believe this is the person Darren was talking about. So we'll see if I could read his mind there. Number 7 is Julian Alvarez.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't have Julian on my list actually. I would have, but I think the issue is the same with the Leverkusen issue. Like I only threw in Schick because I think we've seen Schick do it for 3-4 years. This is the first I heard of Schick was in 2 years ago.
Yep.
Like this is what I'm saying. Like for me, it's been okay. We know you're second, third best striker in the Bundesliga every year, pretty much. Whereas, like if I could choose a striker, like if it was a list of picking my favorite strikers in the world, Julian Alvarez would probably be like 3rd or 4th. I love that like mold of striker. Like Sebastian said, I think Julian Alvarez to me is more of an Agüero with not more to his game, just does more. Like Julian Alvarez can go play left wing if you need him to, can go play right wing if you need him to. And I think the Atletico system just makes sense for him. but they also just rotate their striker a lot. Between him and Simeone, they've both get a lot of playing time. But I think this year he's finally like stamped, hey, like I am a striker, period. Like globally, I'm not about to come to a team and play rotational cam, left wing, right wing. I'm a striker and I can lead a line. Like, bro, he single-handedly was picking apart Real Madrid's back line, bro, just from picking up pockets, making runs in the channel. So he didn't make my list, but I fully understand why Julian Alvarez is on the list.
Sebastian?
Yeah. To be honest, by the way Darren talked about him, I'm surprised he didn't make the list because but I can see why. Yeah, I had Alvarez in 7th. I think we had him as a group in 7th.
I had him in 7th too.
Yeah, he's having a great season. I mean, we're finally seeing him play, as Darren said, finally leading the line, not being second in line to Haaland, not having to try to be like shoot into some random position at City. And Atletico has had great success this season, despite the loss to Real. They're doing super well in the league. They did very well in the Champions League, very well in Copa del Rey, everything. And I think in large part due to Alvarez's contribution. One thing I will say that does take away a bit from him is the fact that, he's rotating a lot with Sorloth. In fact, I was looking at the stats. Alvarez and Sorloth have the same amount of goals this season in La Liga, 11. That's far fewer than most of the other strikers in their domestic campaigns this season that we have in the top 10. So I think that takes away a bit, like 11 goals, same as Sorloth.
And Sorloth is sniffing our top 10. So
exactly. Yeah. So there's more to be done. Yeah.
I would like to say Alvarez all comps has 23, which is I think that's where you see it, because in the Champions League I think he's got I'm looking now, it says he's got 7.
Yeah,
that's great. That's great to be fair.
6
and
7.
I think kind of to round off what both of you guys said, I think it's his overall play for me is the reason where, I mean, again, you want your striker to be imposing as a 9, but one thing that I like about some of these strikers is that you could slap them in center midfield and they would not look out of place, and that just shows the type of player. Like Julian Alvarez played center mid for City some games, and maybe it was more of a 10, but you know what I mean. Like he's playing in that position. Very, very clinical, I think. In comparison, I mean, obviously he's not clinical Haaland level clinical, but I mean, he's still bagging a lot of goals. And I think looking at the way he played at City too, he still bagged over 15 goals. I mean, he was still a very good striker as a backup too, getting like 10, 15 minutes some games. I think he's unreal. I think the Atletico move is fantastic for him. And I think a lot of the strikers that we have on this list, I think he definitely fits in the top 10. I do think that honestly, there's 1 or 2 strikers above him that I'm not so sure are better than him, but we'll talk on them next.
Sure, but I think holistically, as like football players, I think there are few players on this list who are better.
Agreed, 100%.
Striker, I think as a striker, sometimes you need different things from people. Like not every team needs their striker to be able to play football, bro. Some teams have footballers all over the pitch. Just put the ball in the net. We need you to see somebody.
And
super true.
I think this is kind of where soccer as a whole has changed so much recently, because even when, like, if you think back to when we were in high school, like they were not having these types of players that were, these strikers that could play center mid or play wing or all of that stuff. The strikers were strikers. And now the game's changed so much that, false 9 is like very common nowadays. And the way that football is nowadays is that you're switching, you're inverting into the wing, you're inverting deep, and it's really cool to see. And again, like Darren said, some teams need that out and out number 9, and some teams might even play better without a number 9. But number 6 on our list, I think this guy is, I think it's because a lot of us don't watch him as much as some of these other guys, but he's criminally underrated. Lautaro Martinez.
I didn't have him on my list either.
And that's just, see, that's where I wonder.
There's just something about Lautaro, bro.
Well,
like genuinely, like there's just something about him that like I just can't get myself. Like every year he gives me like, it's like every year he does everything right, but I'm still like, I don't know, bro.
I understand that, though. I do understand that. You're not the only one.
Like, if Arsenal signed him, I don't know if I would be excited. Is the issue. Like,
Yeah,
and he
makes
is
sense.
someone who literally every year, I'm sure for the past 5 years, has all comps has dropped at least 25 every year.
Yeah, you're
Like,
right.
but there's just something about him, bro. But I think bias aside, like, if you remove names of players and you just put their statistics year by year and you show them to us, I think people would have him like top 3, top 4, top 5 on this
Yeah.
list. However, I think it's, to me personally, it's the way I want my strikers to play. I don't think he blends into that build. I think he is more of a poacher when I watch Lautaro. He's waiting for his moment. Whereas I want my strikers to kind of like snatch games, just be like, I am the moment. However, I think, bro, you can't deny his numbers, bro. Like, factually, you can't deny his numbers. You sign strikers to score goals. Lautaro shows up and scores goals. It's as simple as. And I fully understand why he made the list, and I expected him to make the list. However, I hoped he didn't. But
I want to hear what you have to say about this because I'll finish off at the end of that too.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Interesting to follow up from what Darren said, but I'll just try to come in with my own thoughts on him. Yeah, I had him at 6th. Despite him only having 11 goals this season, so far in his domestic campaign. But I mean 6th in Champions League, so that's great. Anyway, I actually hear what Darren is saying because I only put Lautaro in this list because of his goals, not because I've ever seen him and thought, wow, this is a top striker. No offense, no offense to him. I don't know whether I think it's the fact that he doesn't have a refined game, yet unlike other strikers without a refined game, he also isn't necessarily the most clinical. Yes, he scores a ton, but he is known, I think, for sometimes missing great chances. Yeah. He also isn't necessarily a creator, although I have to give him credit. He's done really well with Thuram this season and last season. So he's shown a lot of versatility.
Paired with a big striker, GG's, bro. Lukaku, Thuram, you give him a big boy, he's like, I can play off of you. Like, he's good.
Yeah. So, yeah, well done to him for that. So, I should say he's more versatile than we give him credit for. He just, maybe I just need to watch him more, honestly. I don't know. Inter fans love him, right? Like, Inter fans are in love with this guy. So he's a beast. We all know that. But would I be excited for him to come to Liverpool? Like, I don't know. Maybe I need to see more about him. I think we need to open our eyes more to El Toro Martinez. But, yeah, not much else to say.
I think... So I have a few points to counter what you guys are saying. Not that I disagree with anything you're saying, by the way. I just want to say that there is another man that's on this list that we're going to talk. There's 2 people on this list that are above him that offer, you guys talk about overall play not really there. We have, I'm going to mention his name because we've said it multiple times. Erling Haaland is overall play. He makes City a worse team overall, but he bags goals. And my striker needs to bag goals. Lautaro Martinez has scored 147 times for Inter in 300 games. I mean, that's a goal every other game. I mean, that's unreal. And then you look at Argentina, 70 games, 32 goals. Again, a goal every other game. If my striker's bagging a goal every other game, I don't care if they're absolute garbage overall play. If they're bagging a goal every other game, then I'm happy. I'm happy. Now, this is why I didn't have him top 5. I had him in 6 as well, because of the same reason that you guys are speaking. And I agree with everything you're saying. I'm just saying that we also have to look at it from the numbers standpoint and the consistency with which he's done it. And I've watched him games too, where I've thought he's been very good and hasn't scored. I think of games for Argentina where I think he's been decent and hasn't scored. But then I watch like the World Cup, and I think of the World Cup final, for instance. And I mean, I don't know how he didn't score a goal in that game. So, you know, you get a little bit of everything. I think overall play, I agree with you. It's definitely lacking compared to someone like Julian Alvarez, but a very good a very good discussion on him. I think he's he's a numbers man, and we're going to talk about the ultimate numbers man pretty soon. So, number 5 on the list. This one to me is crazy. Now, I want to see if I'm wrong in this. Again, might mispronounce his name. I'm sorry. I'm very bad at this, but Victor Gyökeres.
I was about to say, bro, because when were we gonna say this bum's name, bro? He's too high on this.
Oh my!
Crazy.
Okay, let's just listen to Darren. I want to hear what you have to say.
Bro,
What's this?
I have gone out of my way to watch Gyökeres this season, and I can tell you fully, he's just another bulldozer, bro. He is just another bulldozer. Like, and he's not even like, because I know people would like to compare people as soon as they come out to Haaland is the standard, obviously. Gyökeres is not Haaland, bro.
Right.
He does not bully back lines like Haaland does. Bro,
Right.
We played Sporting, and I genuinely did not realize he was playing till second half, bro. He was a ghost in that game. And this isn't like, I think people are getting clouded by his numbers as well because he's Sporting's penalty taker. Like, bro, I hear it. He scores a lot of goals. He's a big body in the box. But for me, I just don't see technical ability. I don't think he's technical enough for some of the best teams. And sure, you can say, oh, Haaland technically isn't good enough. But you can't say Haaland's ball striking and in front of goal isn't good enough. Arguably the best in the world. For me, Gyökeres, he's a B-Tech Haaland, bro. That's what I see when I watch Gyökeres.
No,
B-Tech Haaland, bro.
Listen, Gyökeres is I think he's a different profile than Haaland, personally. I think
bulldozer.
Darren, didn't you just say he's different, but then you call him a B-Tech?
Yeah,
sure, he is different. He is different. But I'm talking about like goals wise, like to me, he doesn't offer as much as Haaland does, goals wise.
For sure not. Yeah.
I think,
and that's the issue. I think people look at Gyökeres like he's about to show up to the Prem and have a 30-goal season.
No,
bro, not doing that.
No,
like
30 goals in the season in the Prem. He's not going to drop 30 goals in the Prem.
I've not heard anyone say that.
Well, that's how people are talking about Gyökeres.
I think the expectation for Gyökeres is not as high as what you're describing, and I get what you're saying, and I think this. The thing I rate about Gyökeres is I think on the last line, his movement is very good. I've seen him and his movement, and he holds the line well, and then he'll make a good run. And again, have I seen him play in the Portuguese league? No, but I have tuned into a good amount of Sporting's Champions League games this year, and I think he's been, especially like I'm even thinking of the City game, and yeah, I think he scored 2 pens that game, but his movement
against a City Academy center back.
I get that, but
I'm just pointing out, like who he dominated in the City game.
I had him lower than you did. I just want to say I had him actually the lowest out of everyone on this. I had him 9th, but I think his movement is very good, and I think he is a clinical striker. I think he comes into the Prem and he bags more goals than Chris Wood does, and maybe
I agree.
And maybe the system, like if he comes to United, he's not bagging more goals than Chris Wood. It depends on the location of where he goes, because United's it's okay. We don't need to talk about United, but he's not bagging more goals there. But I think he's a very good striker. Again, I agree with what you're saying in that I don't think his build-up play is amazing, but I think he's rapid, which again we'll say about Haaland, and I think his movement's very good. So I think it makes him a good striker.
Sure, but to me, all I'm saying is we saw Darwin Núñez go crazy in the Portuguese league.
Agreed. Not this crazy.
I literally was saying, bro, I don't see it. I do not see it. Because me bulldozing defenders in the Portuguese league is not impressive to me for strikers.
You're saying all this.
I hate to break it to you. Like bullying Portuguese center. Bro, you know who comes out of the Portuguese league? Do you know who we signed from the Portuguese league?
You know who we signed from the Portuguese league?
We signed attackers. This other fraud they've been hyping up, Ruben Diaz. Look.
Oh, dude, you just
turn the light about that bum.
Ruben Diaz is good.
Turn the light about that bum. Anyway, bro. I personally don't rate the Portuguese league. I think Gyökeres is good. I don't think he's coming into the Prem and shaking things like people would expect him to. Like, I think he is just another big body striker. Like, we've seen players like this before come to the Prem on multiple occasions and not succeed. And that's all I'm saying. Sure, his profile is exciting, but to me, I just don't think he pairs like enough technical ability with, oh, I'm just a brute. Like, that's not enough for me. And you keep saying the runs off the center backs' backs. And that was my biggest issue when I watched them against Arsenal. Bro, when we played them, we literally had our center backs in their box the whole game because he offered no threats on the back of our center backs. He went through one time and Saliba caught him so quickly, bro. So quickly. Like, come on, bro. Come on.
You're speaking on one game first off.
Sure.
Wait, if you watch
is that not how we judge players, though? Are we not judging players against the best teams they play?
Yeah, and he did scored a hat trick against City, and you're gonna say he was playing against Simpson Pussy.
An academy
but he also did that. That center back played well other games, and there's two center backs.
I didn't see him again. I didn't see Pussy again.
First off,
that's his name, is it not?
Say his full name. Also, he did it in Coventry too, which you know how I feel about the championship to Prem. The levels are not as far as people say they are, and it's a great pathway to get into the Prem.
I agree. I think doing it in the championship to me does mean a lot. I do hear that. I rated Watkins in championship. I rated Ivan Toney.
Yep,
fully agree.
It's there. He's a top 10 striker. I think he's on the lower end of top 10. But Sebastian, we just kind of rambled. Do you want to say anything on Gyökeres?
No, I mean, sometimes you need someone to just sit back and listen. And give
I just don't like Darren does this thing where he's like, you're either good or you're garbage. And that's
not true, bro. I just said, to me, he's a B-Tech Holland. That's not garbage.
See, but Darren doesn't rate Holland, and he's calling Gyökeres.
What's Holland on my list? Bro, I rate Holland, bro. I said, bro, when Holland came into the league, literally his first season, before he kicked the ball, I said, Holland is going to break the goal scoring.
You want to know what Holland is on Darren's list? Darren has Holland below that Atalanta striker. He's got him 6th, and he's saying he rates Holland.
Okay, Retugi has more goals than Holland this season.
That's the lowest. It's okay. We'll talk about Holland in a little bit.
What are you talking about? Retugi has more goals than Holland this season. I think barring Kane and Lewandowski, he's the 3rd highest goal scorer in Europe.
Holland scored 50 goals like 2 years ago.
Sure, but my list isn't exclusively based on, like I literally said, it's a blend of this year and holistically. I said that when the video started.
I agree, but if you had the Atalanta striker, if this list was last year, you wouldn't even know. He wouldn't even be a thought in your mind. So
sure. But he's the 3rd highest scoring striker in the world this year.
So then Chris Wood should be.
He's on my list, is he not?
I just think.
Look at my list. No, you look at my list and tell me. Chris Wood is on my list, is he not?
Yeah, and he's below Patrick Schick. Bro, your list doesn't make sense.
No, this list is crazy. I'm sorry.
How many goals does Patrick Schick have in Europe this year?
Oh my goodness. We're going to the next one. I can't with this kid.
It's okay, bro. It's okay. You can
be
wrong.
Can I actually say something about Gyökeres, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. Really short. From what I've seen from him, I think he has potential to actually stay in the top 10 strikers in the world. He has something going for him. He's been successful at multiple clubs, multiple leagues, making them at the top of the table. If we're speaking of goals, I know Portuguese league is different, whatever. Ruben Dias, by the way, is actually pretty good. He's not that bad. Gyökeres, he has 28 goals this season. Last year, I think he had 30-something. He scores. Like, he scores to an extent that other people don't. And we have to give him credit for that. I don't know how he does it. I haven't really seen him play, but he does score, and he's scored everywhere he's been, which is a good sign that he'll score wherever he goes next. So I have a feeling we'll be speaking about him sometime in the future, and maybe Darren will eat his words. Maybe not.
I would also just like to add it, and not even at you, Darren.
Name me 10 teams in the Portuguese league.
Do you want me to?
Go for it, bro.
Wait, let's see if you can. Okay.
We got Porto, Benfica, Sporting, Victoria. I don't know how you say the rest of their name. Casa Pia. That's 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm on 5. Okay, give me a second. Did I say Braga?
No.
I said Sporting, Lisbon, Porto, and Benfica, right? Did I say Benfica?
Yeah.
You have 6 so far. 4 more teams.
Nacional.
What?
I'm not seeing the Nacional, Tate.
Check them. Check the league below.
Yeah. I do think Nacional is in the league this year.
Yeah, thank you.
Let me check the league table. 13th, Nacional. 3 more, Tate.
All right,
Go ahead.
Give me a second. I'm definitely missing some big teams.
I mean, you got the biggest ones, the ones that everyone knows.
Yeah.
Which, frankly, there are only 4.
It's okay. We can move on. That's all I wanted to prove.
I don't understand
it's okay, bro. Let's move on, bro. It's okay.
Don't understand
It's okay. It's okay, bro. It's okay.
Bro, everyone
Next on the list. Next on the list.
Next on the list. 22 years old.
Next on the list, bro. It's okay. Let's move on, bro.
I hope people see Darren for what he is.
Bro, it's okay, Tate. It's okay.
Number 4 on the list, and this man has been fantastic this year. He's been fantastic for like 20 years, maybe not that long, but Robert Lewandowski is number 4.
You said 20 years. Sorry.
It's not been 20 years. He's probably been at the top though.
Sounded like a roast, Loki.
No, I'm just saying he's old now. But anyways,
Lewandowski number 4 is kind of criminal. I won't lie.
I think
if we're looking at this year or holistically, he's top 3 for sure.
But 4 is right behind top 3. Like,
no, it's not the same though. Respect Lewandowski.
What? I think the strikers that are at the next strikers we'll name, they're all very similar in where they were ranked. I think you could have had them almost any order, and I think Lewandowski. I mean, he's 8 points behind the next 2. I think it's a pretty fair spot to have him. I think 4th is about where he should be. I mean, if you're going all time, he's got to be higher. But
sure, but if you're doing this season, he's been better than Haaland. If you're doing career, he's been better than Haaland.
I agree. But I think the reason that Lewandowski probably gets taken down is because, he lacks the pace and he doesn't have the overall play of someone like a Harry Kane. So I think, and I'm not saying I agree with him being below Haaland or anything. I'm just saying if you look at what people are looking at, I think Harry Kane gives the overall play more than Lewandowski.
Sure.
And I think Haaland's,
My confusion though is that again, if it's based on this year for people's lists, and I get other people's lists are based on different things.
Yeah.
If it's based on this year, he has more goals than Mbappe this year. If it's based on career, Mbappe started playing striker 2 years ago?
I know. I know.
Or even this year he started playing striker for real. So that's my only confusion. But I think obviously the top 4, like you said, is interchangeable, and that makes sense to me. It's just Lewandowski for me last year. If he was 4th, I wouldn't have anything to say.
Yeah.
This year he literally has had a resurgence, and to me has made himself look like he is better or has been a better striker than, to me, everybody barring one person in the world this year. So I'm a little surprised Lewandowski is that low on our list. But
and I think
it makes sense. And name brand also for some.
Again, if you want to talk about why he's so low, we can have the discussion. Danny has him 6th. I mean, I'm not surprised. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. So I think it's just, and there's a lot of people that have him a little lower. But I agree with what you're saying. I think he's been very good this season. He's been very good in his career. I mean, he's an unreal striker.
Yeah.
And he was crazy at Dortmund, Bayern, and Barca. Like he's
Yeah,
been good
yeah.
for every club he's went to. The only thing
Wait, actually, I haven't heard it. Nah, I keep going. There's a name I haven't heard, and I rate this guy, but he's not better than Lewandowski, bro.
Yeah, I thought about
real?
that. I was thinking about this too. Yeah, I was thinking about this too.
Oh yeah. I know you guys are talking about it.
Is he not in the top 10?
No, we'll
He's
discuss.
100%. Sebastian, this is what I'm saying, bro. This is what I'm saying. Some of the people have put above Lewandowski is mad disrespectful, bro.
It is crazy.
Mad disrespectful. And I rate these other guys, but this is disrespectful to Lewandowski. But Sebastian, anything positive to say about Lewandowski?
No, we'll talk about it when we get to him. Talk about Lewandowski quick, and then once we get to the next man, we'll talk about him.
Okay. Anything positive to say about him? Everything positive to say about him. He was getting slandered last year or the year before by Barca fans for his performances, his lack of being clinical, him becoming, quote unquote, a dinosaur. Like, just really, I think his game wasn't taking off that well at Barca after his initial good start. But he's had a resurgence this season, and we have to give him credit for that. I don't think a lot of people were expecting that. And Barca has been so good with Lewandowski at the helm. So I think we'll look back on this generation of strikers and consider Lewandowski as one of the top 3 strikers of the 2010s to 2020s. He will go down as a world-class legend of the game, I believe. We're looking at him right behind Suarez, almost maybe up there with like Ibrahimovic. Lewandowski is a great of the game, and he's still doing that at the age that he's at today with Yamal and Rafinha. So only good things to say about him. He's a great of the game at this point.
And he would have a Ballon d'Or if they didn't cancel it that year. So.
Okay, great point.
Yeah.
Great point. Yeah, name brand is true. Like you said, name brand.
It helps. It helps.
Yeah,
I think definitely a lot of recency bias in this list. And I think a lot of way that some people probably took this list too is, if your club could sign one of these strikers, who would you choose? Even if you're talking, and I think that's part of the reason people had, because we're going to talk, I'll bring up number 3s now. We have tied for number 3, which pisses me off because I wish one of them was ahead of the other because that would make me a lot happier. But we have Alexander Isak and Erling Haaland tied. And I think this is the reason.
Neither of them are better than Lewandowski.
I agree with you. And I think.
So did we all have that in our lists?
I did not.
I had Lewandowski second.
I had him third. Ahead of Haaland.
I'm speaking from the reason that I
Haaland
had
was first for me. So he was ahead of Haaland.
I had, and I know you guys are both disagreeing with me, and I understand, and I think the points you're making, I agree with all of the reasons. I just looked at it from the point of the way I did this list was different than the way I did the last list. I did it a little bit based off, I thought there had to be some component of the value that the player has held for consistency for the past several years. And that's why someone that only did it for one season couldn't be in. And but the reason that I had Isak higher than some of these other ones is because I think Isak overall game gives me the most out of every striker on this list, bar the person I put first. And that's kind of why I had him higher. I also thought from the standpoint of I'm looking at this from the striker that I like and who I would want at United. And I think Isak would be, and again, it's not, there's no arguing who's the better all-time player because, again, this list would be a lot easier if it was who was the better all-time player because it would be Robert Lewandowski would be up there and Harry Kane would be up there and the rest of the people would be so far. They wouldn't even be close. So that's kind of how I took this. I completely agree with you. Based on this season alone, I think that Isak and Haaland are crazy, but the Prem bias is there because they have not been better than Lewandowski. They have not been better than Harry Kane. They have not been better. I mean, we could go on for several strikers. But the other thing I would say about Alexander Isak and Erling Haaland is that Isak's putting up not the same numbers, but close to the same numbers as Haaland. Maybe not the 1 year where Haaland dropped 50, but every other year that Isak's been at Newcastle, he's been putting up close to the same numbers. His overall play is so much better. You think if you put Isak in City, he wouldn't do what Haaland's doing right now? I just think it's crazy that Haaland and Isak are on the same level. I just expected Isak to be higher, honestly, than Haaland.
Oh my days.
And I was honestly in a lot of. I don't see it. I don't see how. I thought personally it was going to be Kane, Lewandowski, and Mbappe as the top three, and then Isak, and then Haaland. So I was just a little surprised that was the case. But I clearly see you have a complete disagreement, Sebastian. So I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Okay, I'm just going to be short with this. I've been blessed to see Man City play twice in person when they've come to London. One against, actually, I won't say against which teams because you guys will discredit that.
Tottenham. What do you think of Tottenham there? What do you think of Tottenham?
Okay. Okay, valid. I've gone to 2 games and I've seen Haaland score 5 goals. And I don't know what to say other than he was literally terrifying the opposing team's center backs. And yes, you could make comments about the quality of those center backs and the team around them. Haaland, okay, yeah, fair enough. Stinky. Okay, fair enough. Get some Febreze. Okay, move on. Bro, Haaland is unreal. He's maybe the most unreal, and I mean that in the sense of unreal, as in you kind of don't understand how he is capable of doing what he does. Like, it's a bit alien. Not a slight on his appearance, but anyway, he's a beast, bro. Like,
I had to say that, bro.
No, I agree.
He's a beast. He's just a beast.
I agree. I do agree. I had Isak above Haaland just because if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I probably would have had Haaland above Isak. I think the big thing for me this year specifically was Carabao, bro. Isak, not just in the final, but to the final, bro. He was the best player for Newcastle. And I think the thing with Haaland this year is, I think because City have had a poor year, quote unquote poor year, like I think a lot of people are pointing to Haaland, but I think it's quite the opposite. I think Haaland is actually one of the better parts of their season this year.
Probably the best player this season.
Yeah, I think again, if it was a holistic list based on just what people have done in entirety, I would have had Haaland probably second or third, bro.
Yeah, I think third. But
of course, first and foremost, let me speak on Haaland because Tate was trying to disrespect Haaland, talking like he don't do much, bro. Haaland first season dropped 50. Like, that's not normal. That's not normal. And you say he makes City a worse team? Sure, bro. Sure, for your eyes. City also won the treble in the first season,
I agree.
bro.
Yeah, it's true.
Hey, bro, he was the difference maker. When we were getting chased down by City in the league, it was because of Haaland, bro. If we don't win the game, we know whoever they're playing next, they're holding 3 because Haaland is scoring at least 2 a game. Bro, I don't even know what his clip for a career is. It's probably a goal a game at this point. And that's literally the difference. He's different. I think, again, Isak for me above Haaland because same reasons as you, Tate. I think it's no secret to anybody, bro. For years, I've been an Isak sexual, bro. I've been twerking for him to come to the club for years. For years, bro. Don't piss me off. I'll get
a whole new level.
Don't piss me off.
Down, bro.
Right now, bro. Like, I think, and I've been calling him TT Jr. for years, bro. I think, like you said, in the channels, I think when he runs the channels, he's elite, bro. I think on the ball, I think he does foot skills wise, like actually manipulating the ball, taking on a man. I don't know if there's any other striker who's better than him on this list. Like, I think getting players involved in the game, he's elite, as we've seen over and over again at Newcastle. He's making, and don't get me wrong, I rate these people, but Jacob Murphy and Anthony Gordon look like some world beaters, bro. But that's because Isak is literally holding down center backs by himself, bro. Like, he is the only striker I have seen in the Prem this year move to both Liverpool's backline and our backline. No other striker has made both our backlines look just normal. Like, he's the only striker who has made our backlines just look, oh, they're just center backs. Like, they're not.
Can I just clown for 1 second? Joshua Zirkzee did make Saliba and make him look like an absolute.
Especially, you see, bro. This man's highlight of the year is his striker begged my center back. Not even scored against him. Megged him, Sebastian.
Hey, bro, it's been a long season. It's been a long season.
But no, I think like I think Holland gets disrespect, bro. Like, we've got to be for real. I think people overplay that, like, he's not good on the ball, bro. Especially this season. If you watch City this season, bro, he gets people involved this season specifically.
Yes, he does. Yes, he
like,
does. Yep.
And in front of goal, is there any better striker than him? Like, if you're building your perfect striker, it would probably be in the mode of an Isak and Holland. The, like, ruthlessness in front of goal, but ability to play, it would be a blend of the two of them, bro. If I was building my perfect striker,
mine would be
a
blend of the two of them. Even though I haven't seen him, but just what I've seen from the highlights, mine would definitely be our
list, bro. Sure, all time. I'm talking about, like, today. If I had to look at the strikers in the world today,
I know. I just
building my striker, it would be somewhere between Isak and Holland. Like, that was the kind of striker I would like. Someone who is ruthless in front of goal, but also can get your other players involved. Like, I isn't getting just 8 touches a game. Like, I want a striker who wants to be on the ball
more. Yep.
Yeah. So it makes sense. I think their placement makes sense on the list. I'm not upset. I'm also actually happy they're tied. I wouldn't put either ahead of holistically. I would put Holland. As a whole, I would put Holland.
Yeah.
But I think this season alone, I think Isak has had a better season than Holland.
I think the one thing I want to say before we go on to the top two, because the top two I know is going to be, but I think the reason that this list is so, again, we don't, for the viewers, we don't make any sort of guidelines for the list. We just say, give me your top 10 strikers, like right now, or you talk like current or all time, and we just say current. Like, we don't provide any sort of guideline for it. So that's why it's hard to say, because again, I think if I provided the guideline of their body of work for their career, it would be a very different story than me saying right now, if you had to take this player versus who would you rather have your team sign, right? So everyone can take it a whole different way. And I don't think there's necessarily something that's completely wrong between these 5, because you could tell me Robert Lewandowski's first, and he's the one that was lowest on our list, and I would say that makes sense. You could tell me that Erling Haaland was first, and I would say that makes sense. It's just based on how you classified your list. So I think all of us here are not saying any of these guys are garbage. I mean, we all think they're top strikers. Every single one of them is amazing. Coming from someone who's starved of a good striker, I would love any single one of these guys on my team. But I just think I wanted to clarify that we don't give any sort of guidelines for it so that people aren't like, roasting.
Let me just interject, Tate. Victor Osimhen is garbage.
All right. I was talking about the top 5. The top 5. And again, it's the Nigerian bias. I know people don't want to believe it.
It's not, bro. It's not.
But anyways, so the top 2. So do you guys want me to say number 2 or number 1 first?
Go number 2. You can go number.
All right. So we're going to talk about both of them at the same time because we know who number 2 and number 1 are going to be. They were separated by 3 points. The closest separation in the top 10. And they were number 2, Harry Kane, and number 1, Kylian Mbappe.
Nah, let's end it right here. Let's end it right here. Don't get me wrong. I think people have overplayed how bad of a season Mbappe was having at the beginning.
Yes.
I think Mbappe was still putting up numbers. He's Mbappe, bro. But, bro, we've got to be so for real. Harry Kane easily has been the best striker in the world this year. Easily. Like, there's no question about it, bro. If you're talking about facets of the game, getting people involved, Is there a better striker in the world than Harry Kane? Like, no. And especially when we start to talk about like in front of goal, bro, he is the best finisher in the world. Let's get that correct. But bro, left foot, right foot, headers, tape. Nobody on this list has the abilities of Kane when it comes to finishing. Any kind of chance, too, bro. Like if you're telling me any position on the field, the ball is falling to a player on this list. Who do I want it to fall to? It's Harry Kane, hands down, bro. Hands down.
Okay.
Bro, he is like, and obviously, I think it's funny because I think the other person, Mbappe, who's number one, has the one thing Kane lacks in abundance. So, like, Mbappe is mega quick, sure. And like Mbappe's a different player. Some people he's more of like a winger blend than like out and out striker. But bro, like we have to be honest. Because I'm a Harry Kane hater, bro. Especially since he used to ex-Tottenham player. But we have to be honest about Kane, bro. This year especially. Last year, even last year, bro, he was balling. And I was doing the ha-ha, you still haven't won anything and you left Tottenham. Like, sure, it's funny and all, but we have to be honest about Harry Kane these days, bro. Baller, bro. Baller.
Agreed.
Like different, like Sebastian said, top strikers in the 2010s. Bro, like if Harry Kane had one trophy of significance, I think people might even fuck around and put him top 3, bro. The issue is the trophy cabinet is lacking.
I think without the trophy, he's there though.
And that's the thing, is that like, even without trophies, for him to be as devastating as he has been, and it's not just this year, bro. If you want to talk about the whole consistency thing, when's the last time Harry Kane had a sub 25 goal season? Like, he's one of them, bro. Like, Harry Kane's bad years, he's giving you 15, 20 goals in the league, bro. People forget he has what? Golden Boot, top assister, same season. Yes, Salah is going to do that this year, but bro, he's doing that as a striker, assisting, top assister, top goal scorer in the league. Wild. Now, Mbappe. Personally, I didn't have Mbappe number one because I think there's levels to it, bro. I think it's as simple as Harry Kane has been better than Mbappe this season. Like, sure, the step overs might be cool from Mbappe, like taking players on might be cool, but if I'm talking about showing up week in, week out, delivering for your team, it's been Harry Kane, bro. Like, Mbappe has been cool to watch this year. It's a warm-up year. I don't expect the most from Mbappe this year. You just got to a new team. Like, you need to gel because they're playing three left wingers in their front line. It don't make no sense that team. But, like, bro, I don't want it to sound like I don't rate Mbappe, but, like, this is robbery, bro. I'm not going to lie. It should have been Kane. It should have been.
I agree.
All right, Sebastian, you have a little bit of discussion on this?
I agree with Darren. I'm glad at least two of us take. I don't know about you. We'll get to you, but I'm going to be honest. I'm going to call out my fellow viewers because I'm generally one of them. My fellow viewers, I'm disappointed in us, honestly. I'm disappointed in us. Harry Kane is the best striker in the world, and he has been, and he is this year. He might be next year, and he might have a title under his belt by next year, by the next time that we're talking about this. 21 goals in the season domestically, 10 goals in the Champions League. He also, as Darren said, a bunch of assists. So Harry Kane is also way more than his stats. I think we all know that just from watching him. When he plays, he's generally, no matter who's surrounding him, even at Bayern with the talent he has around him, Harry Kane is still the best player on that field. And no one's debating that. That says enough about him. Phenomenal player. I had him as number one ahead of Mbappe, right ahead of Mbappe, just for the fact that Harry Kane is like the reason that we can even solidify and define the striker position. Harry Kane is a striker. Like, there's just no doubt about that. Thanks to him, we can actually benchmark the rest of these guys. But Kane is that guy. He's literally the striker. That's him. That's it.
So I agree with everything you guys are saying, and I know I'm going to get hate because I had Mbappe one. And let me preface this by saying, if this list would have been before he moved to Bayern, Kane would have been my undisputed number one. And I don't even think anyone would have been close. I don't even think that right now Mbappe playing striker, I don't even think he would have been close. my concern with Kane, and I'm saying this, and I'm saying like the levels are so close. I just believe that these past 2 years, I've seen a little bit of a fall off in Kane, and I think that's part of the reason going to the Bundesliga. I think I'm going to preface this by saying I don't rate the Bundesliga that much. I think we've seen a lot of like Haaland came from the Bundesliga, obviously, and he was crazy. But I think the Bundesliga, like Jadon Sancho, for instance, and I'm not trying to hate on Jadon Sancho, but Darren called it originally. But the Bundesliga itself, I just don't feel is one of the greatest leagues that we'll see. I like the Serie A and La Liga are something that I would say are a little higher quality. Okay. But what I think I've seen is I looked at the Euros the last summer, and I did not think Kane had a good tournament. I don't think he was very.
You thought Mbappe did?
I'm not saying I'm not saying Mbappe was crazy. I'm just trying to tell you.
He was stinky at the Euros, bro.
He was. But he also scored a hat trick in the World Cup final. He also scored a hat trick in the World Cup final.
Kane scored to get Tottenham to a Champions League final, bro. Like Mbappe isn't leading Tottenham to a Champions League.
Wasn't Kane out when they got to the
Champions League? In the final, sure. In the final, he was out. He was injured. No,
he was out in the final. Oh, the ball goal!
Oh, Lucas Moura. Yeah. Oh God, Kane was their top scorer for Tottenham that Champions League run. We can check right now. I
agree with. I'm not trying to say Kane is Kane is unreal. I'm just saying I think these past couple years we've seen a slight fall off in Kane, and
I guess my question is, why is Mbappe better than Lewandowski this year?
Because I again based this more off of I said this already. I based it more off of I didn't look as much as Lewandowski scoring a ton of goals this year. Last year he wasn't that great. And again, if we did this last year, the recency bias would have shown something different. I also think Kylian Mbappe, regarded talent-wise, is probably the best player in the world if you look at talent-wise. And people have said that like for so long. And I think now that we're putting him in he's played 9 all season, and now people are just acting like, he's not great at 9 and he can't be top of the list. Even though people would say he's the most talented player in the world. I mean, he's a 9, and I think he's the most talented player in the world. So he has to be number 1 for me.
That's fair. Totally fair.
And if I'm looking at this position as just saying, you are the best. All I care about is that you can score. You can play the position of 9 as the way that I like to see the position of 9 played. Like I like to see you occupying your center backs. I like to see you giving the ball to your wingers and then putting the ball in the back of the net. Okay, then maybe I look at Harry Kane and I say, yes, but I don't even see Harry Kane as the best at that. I see Harry Kane as the best all-around player, bar Mbappe, out of all of these strikers. My point with why I said Harry Kane is not number 1 is I think these past 2 years we have seen a little bit of a fall-off, and I think the most talented player in the world is Kylian Mbappe. And honestly, I get the... What'd you say?
I'm almost positive Kane was still Bundesliga top scorer last year.
He was, and I'm not saying again.
Well, I'm confused. Where was the fall off? What fall off are you speaking? No. I'm asking because Harry Kane was poor the exact same period Kylian Mbappe was poor, the Euros. So if you're saying that wasn't the fall off, then you're going into their season last year. Harry Kane probably was the best striker in Bundesliga last year.
Again, I think. Okay, I think Harry Kane is, again, I'm saying this as if Harry Kane wasn't number 2. He was number 2 on my list. So, like, it's not like there was a big difference. I'm just saying Harry Kane as a, like, himself, I think these past 2 years, I've watched a lot of Harry Kane. And I've watched a lot of Bayern this past year even because Michael Olise is on the team and I love Michael Olise. And I just don't think he's nearly as... He's still very good, but I don't think he's at the level he was at Tottenham. I think there's so many pieces around him at Munich, and I think he's able to
there's
do a
not
lot
pieces around Kylian Mbappe at Real Madrid. Let's be so for real, bro. Come up with a different. Come up with.
You're acting like Kylian Mbappe isn't the most talented player in the world.
bro. You just said Harry Kane has so many pieces around him. And Kylian Mbappe doesn't have literally the guy who came up second in the Ballon d'Or last year on his team. He doesn't have that guy.
Listen,
Okay.
you're asking why Kane has fallen off, and you're bringing it to Mbappe, which the discussion was not about Mbappe. I'm talking to you about why Kane has fallen off. Kane has to do significantly less work than he did at Tottenham. So I am seeing a lot less of Kane doing that groundwork that he's putting in that he did at Tottenham. What I loved about Kane at Tottenham is Kane could drop in and he would be the best creator on the field, and then he would bag crazy goals against high quality opposition with a load of shit at Tottenham. And they were horrible, and he kept Tottenham alive. All right. Now I look at Kane. Again, I'm saying he's number 2 versus number 1. It's not like there's a massive difference. I'm just saying he was not good at the Euros, and Mbappe wasn't good either. I'm not saying that. But Harry Kane has not done the level of international prowess that Mbappe has, and Mbappe's younger. And that's crazy.
That's true.
That's crazy.
Sure.
Mbappe has that superstar.
Harry Kane could also say to Mbappe, you haven't dropped a top scorer and top assister.
And Kylian Mbappe could say to Harry Kane, you've not won a trophy. So again, we can talk about what one person can say to the other.
Sure. So we're blaming Harry Kane for the team's not ever winning a trophy. That's what we're doing. No, because I just want to understand your reasoning, because is that not the same reason Mbappe left to go win the Champions League? Because you're saying because you're saying Harry Kane was doing all of this with shits players at Tottenham.
He was.
Why then should he stay at a shit team?
I'm not blaming him for leaving. I'm just saying in these past few years, we're looking at him playing against a worse opposition, and he's aging. He's moving less on the field.
Perfect. Did we not see Mbappe destroying most of what we've seen of Mbappe is in Ligue 1? Yes or no? So is that not shitty opposition as well?
It is. But I'm talking about Kylian Mbappe on the biggest stage in the World Cup, was the best player on the field by a significant amount.
Are we talking about World Cup final? We're saying Mbappe was the best player on the field during the World Cup final.
Yeah.
Best performance.
Yeah.
Not like overall player. I'm just saying best performance that day. Best performance all of the tournament. He did. And listen,
I disagree, but okay.
I mean, if you think Messi was better, that's okay. Messi's the greatest.
In that final, 100%. Bro, we are acting like Mbappe. We literally didn't speak on Mbappe being quiet for literally the most of that game and showing up for like when they brought the blacks on. When they brought the blacks on, Mbappe said, it's time to play. That's what happened, bro. 30 minutes left in the game, Mbappe decides, it's time to play. Like, we can be honest, bro. I rate Mbappe, but I just don't understand why we're contorting the storylines to make him the best striker in the world this year. It's okay.
I don't think we're contorting any stories. Darren, this is what happens. If someone doesn't agree with your point, you just have to make them feel like their point is so inept, as if Kylian Mbappe isn't the most talented player in the world.
Sure, but who was number one? Who was our number one winger? Was that the most talented winger in the world?
Who did I have as our number one winger?
Is that the most talented?
I had the most talented winger in the world.
I
did.
All right, bro. I'm just saying we can sit here. Like statistically, if we want to do goals, but I'm saying it's more of Kylian Mbappe's game, yes or no, to get goals than it is Harry Kane. Harry Kane is a more all-round, tries to impact the game in different ways than Mbappe, yes or no?
I don't think Mbappe's game is more about getting goals than Kane's is, personally. I think Mbappe is a different level of all-around game than Kane. I think Kane does more.
They're both all-around players. Is that what we're saying?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. So then, why then can't we compare their output as all-around players?
And we can. And you act like I'm saying your reasoning for the list is wrong. I'm just telling you that the reason that I had Kylian Mbappe first is because I think Kylian Mbappe is the most talented player in the world. And I think that he plays striker. So if I think the most talented player in the world plays his position, then I'm obviously going to think he's the best player at that. Like, it's his position and he's the most talented player in the world. So why would I not have him first? I think
talent doesn't equal output, though. We do understand that,
okay,
right?
then if this list was about output, Darren, then it would be an easy list because everyone would just look at who has the most goals and who has the most assists, and they would be top. So again, there's different classifications for the list, and I don't think it's wrong to have Harry Kane first. I don't. I think Harry Kane was someone I seriously considered to have first. I was very close between the two, and I just edged it to Mbappe because what I've seen from Mbappe in big moments has been better than what I've seen from Harry Kane in big moments, and I've seen.
That is valid. That is valid.
Harry Kane is now at a place where he doesn't have to do as much. Not that Kylian Mbappe doesn't have to do as much either. Kylian Mbappe does not have to do. Kylian Mbappe could not be on the field and Real Madrid would still be crazy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that what I've seen from Kylian Mbappe in terms of talent is higher than I've seen from basically any player that we're watching right now. I think everyone thinks of his potential and thinks of it as the highest until Lamine Yamal came by, and now everyone's saying Lamine Yamal is the most talented. But I just think, based on those reasons, that's just why I had Kylian Mbappe first. And again, I think Harry Kane is an unreal striker. And I think if he was still in the Prem, that would bias me. But you know what? I am Prem biased. I am big game biased because I don't have time to watch every game. I don't have time to watch all of the highlights. So that's just based on how I've seen it. And it's okay. It's okay that you guys disagree with me.
Final question: is Didier Drogba better than Thierry Henry?
I didn't watch either of them play, so I don't know how I'm supposed to answer that question.
I can tell you one has 12 goals in finals, one has one. I don't even know if he has a goal in the final.
Well, I would say Thierry Henry's better, but
Thierry Henry has 0 goals in finals.
Again, that I've classified it a lot more than just saying Kylian Mbappe has
a big game player. You see, that was one of your reasons.
It is one of my reasons because a big game player has to be poured into it. Kylian Mbappe won a World Cup at 17 years old, and he scored a hat trick in the last World Cup final. There's something to be said about consistency in the biggest moment, and I think that's one of Kane's biggest downfalls. And I don't think that's crazy to say that that's a reason that someone falls off on a list a little lower.
Mbappe better than Ronaldo?
What?
Mbappe better than Ronaldo?
No.
I'm just asking. Sebastian, you're laughing. I'm just asking. Bro, how many World Cup hat tricks?
He has to bring
how many World Cup hat tricks does Ronaldo? Bro, I'm like, you provided your reasoning, and I've heard your reasoning. I'm just trying to justify said reasoning with the decision you have made.
Okay.
That's all I'm asking.
I could do the same thing with your reasoning for putting Harry Kane first.
Sure.
I mean, and again, you're just trying to pick apart and argue. Like, you're not going to change.
I told you it was a blend of this season and holistically. So please pick apart why Harry Kane is not number one.
Okay, there's so many reasons that you could say that Bruno Fernandes then he should be the number one cam in the entire Premier League then, based off that reason. A blend of holistically and this season, Bruno Fernandes should be number one in that regard, but you wouldn't have Bruno Fernandes number one.
Number one. Bruno
Exactly.
Fernandes is better than Kevin De Bruyne. Is he better than Kevin De Bruyne?
If you
Holistically, statistically, we can pull up stats. And even if you want to go Bruno Fernandes, Odegaard, right? We can do that. Non-penalty goals. Most non-penalty goals scored in the season in the Premier League by a midfielder is Martin Odegaard. So if you want to do the statistic thing, because one person takes penalties and another person doesn't take penalties, we could do the goals and assists. We could do that.
Do you want Bruno to disguise penalties? Is that what you want him to do?
No, it's not his fault. He takes penalties.
All right, then why are you hating on him?
Same way, it's not Kane's fault. He was at Tottenham. That's all I'm saying.
You're making it
seem like, oh, everything Mbappe has done to date has been an Mbappe only effort. And Kane, one of your main points was look at how much help Kane has at Bayern now.
You asked why he's regressed this season, and I told you one of the reasons he's regressed is because he now has so much more help and he has to do so much less. So that's one of the. I'm not saying it to compare.
So can I say Kylian Mbappe has regressed this season?
You can. He has.
Okay, Kylian Mbappe has regressed this season. That's why he's not my number one.
And that's okay. That's
Agreed. I just needed a justification to make the list make sense. And now it makes sense. Kylian Mbappe regressed. He's not my number one. That's all there is to it,
That's
bro.
not the reason you had him not number one, though, in the first
That's
place.
all there is to it. That's all there is to it.
Oh, man. You are just listen. It's just everyone has their own opinions, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I really don't. And I'm not coming out here and trying to roast you for having your own opinion.
I'm not roasting you. Why do you feel like you're getting roasted?
I'm just
asking for justification
I
on your
am.
list.
This is what you did,
Okay,
right?
and you provided because you want me
But
to
then
stop
you
asking questions. No, because you want what you want is, oh, Mbappe is faster. And then I don't ask any other questions. I just stop that you said this, and it doesn't make sense to me, so I should just accept it. I'm gonna ask questions because, bro, Sebastian, if I say to you, Harry Kane has regressed because he has more support at a better team now. Why then can't you're telling me Mbappe is the best striker in the world? Why then can't I ask you, bro? Wait a minute. Does Kylian Mbappe not have even more support at Real Madrid, whether it's attacking or defensively?
In a better league, and acting as if PSG wasn't still crazy good for their league. Like, there's so many circumstances that you're not bringing into this conversation too.
Sure. That what Mbappe was there when Lille won the league, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Wait, didn't Kane lose the league last year?
Bro, and that is my point. You're literally doing the same thing I was doing. Bro, that is my point. We can't just sit here and pretend that like all of a sudden, because Kane lost the league last year, Mbappe losing the league in PSG doesn't mean anything. That's all I'm saying. Is that like if you're going to put a clause around somebody like Mbappe or Kane and be like, this person has progressed because of said reason, why then can't I say this the same reasoning you apply to Kane, I am applying to Mbappe. But then it doesn't make sense though for Mbappe. To you, it doesn't make sense. And that's what I'm saying. What
do you mean it doesn't make sense to me?
That like Mbappe, you're saying, oh, it's a better league. But I can also tell you Mbappe is surrounded by better players.
Yeah. And Mbappe this season, by the general mass media, everyone has said he's been absolutely garbage this season.
I don't think so. I'm not saying that.
I agree with you.
Mbappe is my third. I think has been the third best striker this year.
And I think that's completely fair. Again, you're acting as if I'm saying Harry Kane is trash and Kylian Mbappe is so much better. They're so
Sebastian,
close.
Did you hear me say that?
No, but I am enjoying listening to you too. So
listen, either way, it wouldn't have changed if I would have switched my vote. There are some people that put Kylian Mbappe, like, there were so many people that put Mbappe first, but then there were people that put, like, Mbappe was very low on several people's lists. Like, there was one person that put him at 5th. There was one person that put him at, yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. So, like, my justification isn't what you need for the entire, like, list. There's someone that had Kane at, Kane was first or second on everyone's list. So if you want to take it like that,
like 7th.
Yeah, Kane was third on like 3 people's lists, but otherwise Kane was at the top for almost everyone. So
consistency, it does that, man. That's Harry Kane.
Listen, it does. I think there's something to be said though about the most talented player in our entire world right now, and I think that had a big portion of why he was first on the overall list. And thank you. I that's all I need. I mean, my justification I think is fair. Comments, you can let me know if I'm way off for it. I'm obviously think Harry Kane is a very rightful first place too. I also think, which we didn't talk, but Lewandowski was a rightful first place too. And I think Haaland also could have been a rightful first place, and even Isak could have been a rightful first place.
Disagree.
Well, we can stop after Haaland, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe Isak being first would be a little crazy. But yeah, so that's our top 10. So in 10th, we had Usman Dembele at 10th. 9th was Victor Osimhen. 8th was Matteo Retegui. I don't know how you say his name.
I think it's just without. It's just Retegui. You can just say Retegui.
Okay. 7th was Julian Alvarez. 6th was Lautaro Martinez. 5th was Victor Gyökeres. 4th was Robert Lewandowski. 3rd was Isak and Haaland tied. 2nd was Kane. And 1st was Mbappe. I'd say there were some people that were a little upset with the placement of the list. So thank you for everyone for sending in the lists. I think we got our biggest fan on, Sebastian.
Mbappe not even top scorer in his league. Bro. Get the shit out of here. Let's wrap this shit up, bro. Let's wrap this shit up. Not top scorer in his league, not top scorer in Champions League. What are we doing here, bro?
What are we doing here? This is how a lot of Darren and I's conversations go, and I feel like we've been too agreeable recently.
And what pisses me off is I'm not even a stat person. I'm not stat man.
No, you are.
I was Sadio Mane over Mo Salah. My issue has just been that, like, for some reason, clauses apply to certain players, but they don't apply to other players, and that's been my. It's just if the thought process was the same for every player throughout the list, I'd be like, sure, bro. If we're doing, the most talented striker in the world list, I'd be like, sure. But that wasn't, at least to me, that wasn't the understanding of what.
And that's why the lists did not have any guidelines, and people could take them their own way. So listen, I hope this provided people enjoyment. Again, this is how Darren and I's conversations normally go. I think we've been very tame, and I think Sebastian can agree that I don't think we've been to the point where we get like actually into like deep conversations where we disagree, because we need to be more controversial on this. So that's what I think I'm hearing. So,
Agreed.
But really did enjoy the show a lot. I thought it was a good discussion. I honestly liked it more than the wingers because I feel like there was more controversy. So I really enjoyed it. Sebastian, thank you for joining us. And Darren, I'll let you close this out.
Yeah, people, like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that. Sebastian, like Tate said, thank you for joining in.
Please roast in the comments.
Leave comments, please. Yeah, we want to hear what you guys have to say about the top 10 list. And yeah, if any of you want to beef, I can link you my my Snap, Instagram.
Send the address.
I can give you my iMessage, bro. I'm down to have all these conversations, bro. Trust.
Same thing Darren's saying. I'm also down to. And honestly, you can just put us in a group chat, and then we'll just end up going off on each other. So it would be a good time. But yeah,
love to all the fans. even though 90% of our fanship is on the pod right now.
True.
90% of our interactions are on the pod right now. But hey, man, yeah. Thanks, Sebastian. Hope you guys loved the episode, and see you maybe next week. We'll see.
Thank you, guys. Been a pleasure.
Tate, I wouldn't be wanting to spend this moment with anybody else but you. Take my hand. Take my hand. Take my hand. Take my hand. Aw, Tate. My first kiss was the African sun, no tongue.